Hello and welcome to the second episode of our podcast RNV Talks, in which we will be discussing many different aspects of the history and culture of the Roma minority. This podcast is released as a part of the project EUROMIJA, arranged by the Roma National Council of Croatia in the framework of the European Solidarity Corps. Today, our second talk will be about Roma's journey towards national identity.
For many years, Roma communities lacked a formal global platform to raise their voices, defend their rights, share often tragic past, or shape a better future. That changed in 1971 with the First World Roma Congress. It marked the start of an organized, cross-border movement to confront discrimination, promote social inclusion, and preserve Roma identity and culture. Beyond political advocacy, the Congress has become a powerful symbol of resilience and unity, bringing Roma communities to act together. The very first Congress took place in Orpington, near London, from April 8 to 12, 1971. It gathered 23 delegates from 9 countries and observers from India, Canada, and the United States. It was funded by the World Council of Churches and the Indian government.
Speaking of the first Congress, what were the main topics discussed at the First World Roma Congress?
That first meeting set the foundation for the movement. 5 sub-commissions were created to focus on social affairs, education, war crimes, language, and culture. Some of the most symbolic decisions were also made there. The Roma flag, blue and green with a red 16-spoked wheel, was officially adopted, representing the sky, the earth, and the Roma's nomadic roots. The song Jelam Jelam was chosen as the official Roma anthem, and most importantly, the Congress called for the use of the term Roma instead of outdated or offensive labels. This was a big step in reclaiming identity and dignity. From there, the congresses continued every few years, each one building on the last. In 1978, the second congress was held in Geneva, where the International Roma Committee became the International Roma Union. The third congress in 1981 took place in West Germany and brought attention to the Porajmos, the genocide of Roma during World War II. Later in 1990, the third congress officially declared April 8 as International Roma Day in memory of that very first meeting in London.
How did the World Roma Congresses evolve over time?
Over the years, the congresses expanded in focus, covering everything from education and culture preservation to reparations, human rights, and Roma political participation. One key declaration came in 2000 in Prague, when the Roma declared themselves as a non-territorial nation. The first Congress was a historic milestone. It laid the groundwork for organized Roma activism on a global scale. While later Congresses continued its legacy, the growing Roma movement also saw the emergence of new organizations, sometimes competing for leadership and influence in representing Roma community. Today, April is recognized in many places as Roma Month, a time to celebrate Roma history, culture, and contributions, while ongoing discrimination and also raising awareness of the challenges that Roma people continue to face. It serves as a key platform for advocacy, helping ensure Roma voices are heard and their rights defended against ongoing discrimination and exclusion.
Today, studies estimate that there are between 10 and 12 million Roma living in Europe, making them one of the biggest minorities in the continent, and half of them are citizens of EU countries. And yet, despite being such a significant population, Roma communities have faced, and continue to face, discrimination, exclusion, and political invisibility. Over the past few decades, international attention towards Roma rights has grown. This is part of a broader movement for minority protection that gained momentum especially in Europe after the 1990s. The fall of the Soviet Union and the collapse of Yugoslavia triggered urgent political change, forcing European institutions to confront issues related to identity, nationalism, and minority rights. International organizations such as the Council of Europe, the European Union, and the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe began to create legal frameworks and monitoring mechanisms to protect vulnerable groups. The Council of Europe, in particular, played an active role in drafting instruments defending minority rights. But the truth is, none of these efforts were originally designed with Roma people in mind. Their situation was often considered too complex, too fragmented, or simply not a priority.
Are there any reasons that can explain why Roma were at the margins of minority protection for so many decades?
Actually, yes. Minority rights, according to international law, are typically granted to groups who share a common culture, language, or religion that differs from the majority. But when applied to Roma, these definitions don't always fit neatly. Indeed, unlike many other national minorities, Roma do not have a kin state, no country that sees them as part of its national family. They don't have a single shared language nor a unified religion. Their communities are scattered across the continent, shaped by different histories and local contexts. Some speak Romani, others don't. Some identify as Roma, others as Sinti, Kale, Ashkali, or under other group names. This diversity within Roma communities makes it harder to apply one-size-fits-all policies, and even harder to speak of Roma as one people and to create a unified political voice. This question is central whenever we look at the attempts made by Roma to build their political movement, which exists not only in response to exclusion, but also in search of national identity.
When did the process towards political activism start? Is it a recent thing?
The first traces of Roma activism can be found in the early 20th century, when some Roma were already advocating for cultural protection and civil rights in countries like Bulgaria and Czechoslovakia. But the devastation of the Second World War, and particularly the genocide of Roma, known as the Poraimos, hampered these early efforts. In the post-war period, many Roma communities lived under authoritarian regimes in Eastern Europe, where political representation was nearly impossible for everybody, especially for minorities. In Western Europe, although democratic systems were in place, Roma still remained politically invisible because they were rarely organized and often not even recognized as a minority group. It wasn't until the 1960s that a new wave of Roma activism started to emerge. Activists began working toward creating a shared national identity that could support claims to rights, recognition, and representation. They started to assert that Roma people are a non-territorial nation, so a group that shares common history, values, and struggles. These ideas laid the groundwork for a turning point in Roma history, the First World Roma Congress, held in London in April 1971. There, delegates from 14 countries came together, many of them meeting for the very first time. They shared stories, struggles, and hopes for the future. But more than that, they made decisions that continue to define the Roma identity today. They adopted a flag, an anthem, and, perhaps most importantly, they launched their political voice at the international level.
Can you tell us something about the legacy of this Congress, both for Roma and external observers?
Of course, since 1971, Roma political activism has grown, facing both internal and external challenges. Different views on identity, language, and strategy have sometimes led to fragmentation, but the legacy of that Congress remains a powerful reminder of how unity can be forged even across deep differences. Today, as we look back on over 5 decades since that milestone moment, it's clear that progress has been made, but it's also clear that much work remains. Racism in the form of anti-Gypsyism is still a reality in Europe. Roma people still face poverty, housing insecurity, limited access to education and healthcare and social services, and underrepresentation in political life. Too often they are spoken about but not listened to. For us, who do not belong to the Roma community, recognizing Roma identity in all its complexity and supporting Roma-led initiatives is essential to achieve meaningful change. The story of Roma is not just one of victimhood, it's a story of resilience, survival, and political awakening. So today it is essential to remember the First World Roma Congress not just as a historical event, but as a living symbol of what could be possible if communities come together to reclaim their narrative.
In addition to discussing issues of protecting the rights of Roma, combating discrimination and stereotypes, preserving cultural heritage and integrating Roma into society, it was also important to adopt the symbols of the Roma people, the flag and the anthem. The chosen anthem was the song Jelim Jelim, which in turn is not just a song, but a reflection of the culture and history of the Roma.
Why establishing flag and anthem is also considered to be an important result of the First Roma Congress?
The introduction of these two symbols initiated a clear and noticeable expression of ideas, which has come to be recognized as Roma national movement. The anthem and other national attributes are a form of expression of belonging to a particular nation, which contributes to the sense of community. That is why establishing an anthem and other national attributes is a big and important step toward building community of the Roma people.
You have mentioned that the song Jelem Jelem was chosen, so do we know its story before it was officially claimed to be an anthem?
Yes, the song has a long and tragic story. The lyrics of the anthem were written by Žarko Jovanović, a Roma musician and composer who was appointed to be Minister of Romani Culture during the Second World Roma Congress, and some sources also mention the tambourine player Miloš among the authors. The sufferings of the Roma people as a result of the Paraimus became one of the main themes of the song. Žarko Jovanović himself was a prisoner in 3 concentration camps during World War II, lost in Paraimus almost his entire family, and after joined the partisans. There are different versions of the origin of the melody Jelem Jelem. It is known for sure that the song was popular among the Roma even before it became the official anthem. In 1967, it appeared in the film Skupljači perja, literal translation The Father Gathers, but in European distribution it is known as I Even Met Half Gypsies, directed by Aleksandar Petrović. Both the film and the song used in it became popular and received wide public attention.
Can you tell us more about the way the history of Roma is told in the song?
The lyrics mention the massacres of Roma organized by the Black Legion, a battle formation of Ustaša forces responsible for a very big number of war crimes committed during the war in Croatia and Bosnia and Herzegovina. In addition to pointing out the difficulties of life for the Roma, the lyrics of the song also contain a call for Roma around the world to come together. The first line of the song, Jelem Jelem lungo nedromeje, translates as I went on long roads, which also speaks to the history and journey, wanderings and difficult life of the Roma people. The lyrics vary greatly from region to region and from artist to artist, but the very first verse and chorus, which appear in every version, are considered to be canon. The sad and heartbreaking melody, as well as the lyrics, tell of how sad the history of the Roma people was. The song Jelem Jelem has become a symbol of the unity of the Roma people and their struggle for recognition, equality, and the preservation of culture and other national traditions. Through Jelem Jelem, Roma express their history, pride, and desire for justice.
That was all from us for today. We hope you enjoyed our little talk. You can find a link to all the articles we wrote on these topics in the description of this episode. Do not forget to follow us on our social media accounts and website to stay in touch with us and our job here at RNV. Bye!
Jelem, jelem, lungone, dromena sa.